That's good. Good morning, sir.
Morning. So we can start now. Thanks for joining. Today we'll be looking at chapter 5, right? And chapter 5, like I give the intro on the platform, is about what is obtainable in the audit firms. Okay? And what they do on a daily basis. Now, why is this topic important? This topic is important because it's not everybody that we have the luxury of time or opportunity to work in an audit firm. And it's going to afford you the nitty-gritty of what is obtainable within the audit firm on a daily basis. Okay. Now, in order for us to proceed, we need to look at some key definitions because that will give us the opportunity to have a broader understanding because these keywords will be used intermittently throughout the course of this lecture today. So without further ado, let's start. The topic is practice management, like I said, and we are looking at quality control, ISA 220 and ISQC 1. Now, like I explained, audit firm, why are we looking at quality control? Now, when we talk about quality control, we are trying to ensure that what's obtainable in the Big Four, you know the Big Four, right? The S and Young, Deloitte, S and Young, Deloitte, PwC, and KPMG, the Big Four. Now, what's obtainable in the Big Four should also be obtainable across the second tier audit firm and the small and medium audit firms. Okay, that's what we talk about quality control. So that it won't be as a result of the fact that it's only when you use the Big Four, you're going to obtain value for your money. Okay, so if you whether you use the Big Four, use the second tier, use the small, medium audit firm, you're going to practically get similar, if not the same kind of service in terms of service delivery, right? That is why we talk about quality control, so that there won't be any preference to why you go to the Big Four or any of them, right? Now, the key definitions we need to look at, as explained in this ISQC, this auditing standard, the auditing standard, that is ISA 220 and ISQC number 1. So the key definitions there are what we want to look at now. The first one is called engagement partner. Okay, who is an engagement partner? Now, an engagement partner is someone that leads the engagement, that leads an audit engagement. So for you to understand it, so when you have auditors, external auditors come to your organization that they want to carry out year-end audit, that person that leads them, the person that is ahead, the person that introduces, the person that is in charge of that engagement is known as what? The engagement partner. That is the literal meaning of who an engagement partner is. So you're going to be using it intermittently. So when you hear engagement partner within your office space, when the auditors come and say, you understand what they mean by that, okay? Then another thing also you need to know is engagement quality control review. Now, by engagement quality control review, that's a process, okay? The process is to ensure that there is proper evaluation or objective evaluation in the sense that anything that can lead to negligence on the part of the audit firm, professional negligence on the part of the audit firm, this process is what checks that does not happen. Okay, so that means there are different layers of what review that is done to ensure that whatever the engagement partner presents in the audit report can be what? Can stand the test of time. Okay, can stand the what? Test of time. That's what we mean by uh, engagement quality control review. We are going to be using it intermittently. Now, who is the engagement quality control reviewer? Engagement quality control reviewer is that person, or I would call the person a partner. Sometimes the engagement quality control reviewer resides within the audit firm. If it's in the Big Four, they reside within the audit firm. But if you are looking at the small and medium audit firm, sometimes they are outside, okay? You need to consult them, right? So what they do is that, why do we call them engagement quality control reviewer? The reason we call them so is the fact that they provide an objective evaluation, okay? So that means that they are not the one that did the work. The engagement partner has done the work. But what you need to have at the back of your mind when you talk about the engagement quality control reviewer is that he reviews the work or he evaluates the work of the engagement partner before that audit report is signed and dated. Do you understand? He ensures that he reviews the audit report and working paper, okay, before it is signed and dated. What does that mean? What that implies is that once the audit report is signed and dated, that means that it is ready for what? Publication. Do you understand? It's ready for what? Publication, or it's about to be published. And you know that whatever is published is difficult to what? To retract. So what it does is that before the audit report and audit working papers are signed and dated, he ensures that he reviews it for everything that might be wrong with it to be sure that it meets the specific laid down requirements of the firm as well as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. That is what he does. All right. Then the next thing we need to look at is the engagement team. Engagement team. Who is the engagement team? Who are the engagement team? Now, the engagement team is made up of group of people, right? Usually, the engagement team is led by the engagement partners. The person in charge of the engagement team is the one that set up the engagement team. That is, the engagement partner com, constitute the engagement team. So, an engagement team, you have the likes of the audit engagement partner, right? You have the likes of audit senior, audit manager, right? You have the likes of audit audit training, audit intern, and you also have the experts, right? That's what constitutes the engagement team, the experts. And I want to believe that you still remember who an expert is in audit, right? So we'll still talk about that in subsequent chapter. That will be chapter 8. We'll talk about an expert, but I just believe that you understand. And if you don't, if you cannot recollect, don't worry, when we get to chapter 8, we're going to look at it. So those are the last one that is not here is also part of it. And I want us to also at back of your mind, our back of our mind is the person we call the managing partner. That's the fifth one. Now, the managing partner is responsible in organizations, right? We don't call the the person at the helm of affairs of a of an audit firm a managing director. Rather, we use this word, we use this term, managing partner. If it's one managing partner, if it's more than one, we call them managing partners. Okay, so they are the ones in charge of the audit firm as a whole. They are the one that responds for everything that goes on within the audit, so they coordinate, they do everything. Okay, so we are still going to talk more about them in the course of this class. Now, as we continue, what you also need to know is that when we talk about quality control, like I explained earlier, it is not categorically defined as what constitutes quality control in auditing or in practice management. Okay, but what you need to have at the back of your mind, later you talk about quality control, we are looking at a situation, right? Is a condition that ensures that all the laid down rules spelled out by the professional bodies are being complied with by all the audit firms that are guided or that are bound by the requirements. So if you call yourself an audit firm, that means that you must ensure you act in line with the laid down rules and procedures, the guidelines of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Because in Nigeria, as we speak, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria is solely responsible for the regulation of the practice of audit and assurance services in Nigeria. I hope you understand. That is why ICANN is coming in, right? So that is what happens. That is what we mean by quality control. So I want to believe that you understand what quality control is in that perspective. Another thing I want to also put, let me also put it in another perspective so that you understand it better. In every sector, you have the quality control. In every sector, you have the quality control. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what that means is that let's take a look at the automobile industry. Let's take a look at automobile industry. In the automobile industry, you see that every car that is produced, a car, I'm talking of a car now, has what? Four tires. There's no car that has six tires or seven tires. They always have what? Four tires installed on them. That is the quality control. That's why it's called what? A car. Every car has what we call what? The fog light and the tail light. Every car. Every car has a windscreen. That is the windshield, both in front and the back one. The front windshield and the back windshield. And you always see that the front windshield is always bigger than the back windshield. Go and check every car. There is no car that has the back windshield bigger than the front windshield. They are designed that way. That is quality control. So anybody that say wants to manufacture a car must comply with the manufacturer requirement for manufacturing a car. That is what it means. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's just what I just want to explain in that regard, right? Because I know most times you say the audit is abstract. So how do I put a perspective to it so that we'll be able to understand what it means? That's what I'm trying to do. So what does this quality control, what does it do? Does it have any benefit to the audit firm? Or to audit firms. What does it do? Let's look at some of the advantages of having a good quality control in place in an audit firm. Number one, it creates room for what? Greater competitiveness and client retention. What does that mean? What that means is that when you talk about competition, what does it mean actually? What does it mean? Competition is actually trying to ensure that you always try to be better than your previous performance. Or in better perspective, I can say that competition has to do with ensuring that you are not you are not being you are not reducing in your performance. You are always ensuring that you are optimizing your performance. You're always maintaining or surpassing your previous performance. That's what it means. So when you have three or four people competing, what that means is that the four people that are competing, they want to see who will do best among the four people. So that's what creates room for what? Competitiveness. So what does that mean in relating it to this advantage? Now, what that means is that whether you have preference for the big four, the second tier audit firm, or the small medium audit firm, regardless, anyone you decide to go for, you are going to do what? You are going to obtain premium service. And because you're obtaining premium service, there is no need for you to now try to what? To jump ship or try to cross carpet or try to leave one audit firm to the other. Say, okay, let me rather go for the big four. So if you are going for the big four, you have your own specific reasons for going for the big four, but it shouldn't be because of what? Quality of service rendered. That's what it means. So that means that if you are not leaving the audit firm for as a reason of what? Service rendered, that means that you are able to what? Retain your clients. You understand? You're able to do what? You're able to what? Retain your clients. So in as much as you are trying to do better than what you did last year, or you're trying to do better than what you have always done, right? You're also ensuring that you're able to retain your client. That means you're able to satisfy your client. When you satisfy your client, you're able to retain your client. Number two advantage of having a good quality control and audit firm is the fact that it gives room for what? Superior risk management in terms of the fact that 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 process of engagement quality control review that provides an objective evaluation of the work done by another person, the engagement partner. Somebody will review the work that is done by another person, that person that was not part of that engagement, the person that was not among the engagement team or part of the engagement team, will now be what? Be put in charge to review what? To review what has been done by another person. So because of that objectiveness, right? That person is going to look at it from a whole new dimension. So if there's any irregularities or any issue that might bring about professional negligence on the part of the audit firm, right? it is being what? Properly managed. They will be able to resolve it within the uh, stipulated time. Number three, number three advantage of a good quality control is the fact that it provides what? More informed decision making. More informed decision making. What does that mean? Now, if you look at an engagement team that I explained earlier, right? An engagement team is made up of different caliber of audit staff, starting from the engagement partner, audit senior, audit manager, right? Audit trainee, audit intern, and expert. All these people that I mentioned, they work in the audit firm and they work in the audit firm. So at one form or the other, or in one form or the other, they will be charged with what? Responsibility. And because they are charged with responsibility, they are expected to what? To deliver on those responsibilities. So once they deliver on those responsibilities, what does that do to the organization? And what does that do to the audit firm as a or to the engagement itself? What that does is that it affords the engagement partner to be able to have what? A diversified view or diversified viewpoint of the people that has been given responsibilities. You understand what that means now? So that means that because you are in charge of certain responsibilities, you're able to what? Deliver on those responsibilities. Okay? That is what we mean. And because you're able to deliver on those responsibilities, you have also been involved in that decision making. So more informed decision is made. So you know they say there's a saying that two good heads are better than one, right? So when more people contribute, it's going to lead to what? A more informed decision making. The next advantage is looking at enhanced firm culture and internal communication. What do you mean by firm? What do you mean by culture? Culture is a way of life. So what that means is that before you go for any engagement and audit firm, you always see that they always have a brief discussion. The engagement team will sit together and have what? A discussion around that particular engagement. What does that do? What that does is that everybody is communicated with what they need to do when they get to the client's office. And that is why you see when the auditors, when they get to the client office, you hardly see an auditor that you say, this one is not incompetent. Why? Because they always act professionally, because they have been given tasks to do. They have been told what to do. So when they get there, all of them are acting out what they have been directed or instructed to do. So there is what we call enhanced firm culture and internal communication. Everybody knows what to do, right? That's what that means. Then the next one is another advantage is greater sense of accountability and inclusiveness. I don't need to say more about that because I've explained that. That means everybody is accountable to the bit that they have been assigned to do. That's what it means. Okay. Then the next one is greater adaptability and preparedness. So what that means is that you know every time you are going for an audit engagement, you know what to do, right? That's what it means. You know what are the things you need to do. And sometimes there are some clients that you might need to sleep over in their offices. Like now that I'm speaking now, for some of those clients and some of those audit firms that have banks as their clients, financial institutions as their clients, some of those audit firms now, their staff, they are going to be sleeping over at the client offices from now to the end of February to ensure that they meet the statutory requirement of what? Submitting their audited financial report on or before 31st of March 2025. So that means what they have done last year, they must ensure they're able to review, audit everything, and present an audit report on or before 31st March 2025. Failure of any bank to meet up with that, we have tried sanctions both from CBA and from other regulators. And that is why I said that. So the audit staff that have been charged with auditing banks now, they know what to do. So they know that they will not be able to sleep conveniently because this is their season. They are in their season. There are times when they will be off peak period. Now they are in the peak period. They have work to do. Maybe sometime around September or October, they might be off. It might be off peak period for them. So that time they will need to close at normal time, resume at normal time, close at normal time, and that is what we mean by greater adaptability and preparedness. So you know what to expect. So you're not saying, why is it that I'm sleeping in the office? No, you know what is at stake for your clients. Then next one, another advantage is that it enhances employee recruiting, retention, and morale. So what that means is that you work in an organization where you are being told what to do from time to time. You know the plan of the organization, you know the plan of the audit firm, you know the plan of managing partner, you know the plan of your engagement partner. You know how everything works there, right? You know how they do recruitment, everything that goes around there. You know you are aware of everything. So because you are aware of everything, you see that it's very hardly will you see an audit firm, audit staff jump from one audit firm to the other. They rather jump from an audit firm to another sector, but they hardly leave that, they hardly cross carpet from one audit firm to the other because you know that what is obtainable in audit firm A is what you are going to probably be obtainable in audit firm B. All right, so that is what we mean. Then, because the staff are not, um, they are not resigning, they are not leaving en masse in that regard, right? They are not spending money on recruitment. You know, recruitment has a cost. Because you are not spending money on your recruitment, what that means is that as an organization, you are going to have increased in what? Profit. So that money that should have expended on recruitment, right, is being saved and it will be plowed back. So that's what we call it increased profit. So these are some of the advantages of having a good quality control. Does anybody have any question before we continue? Any question? Any comments?
No, no question, sir.
All right, so I think we can continue. So let's go on to the next one. So we have looked at the advantages or benefit of having a good quality control. Now, when you have poor quality control, what does it do? What are the consequences to the audit firm? So when there's lack of quality control or where the quality control is poor, these are some of the things that you are likely to face as an audit firm. One, legal damages and legal costs. What does that mean? When you have a disgruntled or dissatisfied client, what they do is that they are going to go forward. They are going to use an action, an act of operational negligence on the audit firm. They're going to use a legal action against the audit firm. And when they do that, they'll be want to what? Claim damages. Okay, they want to claim damages. And as an audit firm, you are going to recruit your own lawyers. So that lawyer, the cost you are going to spend on servicing the lawyer requirements, transportation, printing, other logistics, hotel, transport, all those things, right? They are part of the cost. So these are some of the things that you face when you don't have a proper or when you don't have a good quality control in place. The other thing that we do, another consequence of that is that as the case is being filed, is piling up by the client. Today, one court, the other day, another court. Before you know it, the news will spread around. So all the other clients will do what? They will withdraw their services. They say they will not, they will discontinue their service with, you want to discontinue your service with them. They will do what? They will leave. And that will lead to what? Loss of clients. And what that means is that it has affected the publicity and reputational damage of the audit firm. And you know that there's something that is very, 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 very big or very difficult to remediate is what reputational damage. I hope you are aware of what happened. You know, anytime you are talking about audit and assurance, I want us to believe that it is not abstract. It's what you see every day. It's what happens. If you look at what is happening around every day, there's an element of what audit and assurance events or issues in everything that happens every day. I want to cast our mind. I want to use this one to explain adverse publicity and reputational damage. Though it is not already clear, but I just want to use it to explain what you mean by reputational damage, in case for some of us that don't that needs further explanation. Remember of a case that happened last week, just this week this last week that just ended yesterday, of a school in Korodu where a teacher slapped a 3-year-old boy. because he's very slow. He's not responding. He's not cooperating with her. So she slapped the child. The news went viral, right? So that kind of a damage, that kind of news now is going to affect the reputation of that institution. So before you know it now, parents will withdraw their children from that school, saying that this one happened to this person's child today. What if it happens to my child tomorrow? People will do what? They will withdraw their children from that school. That will be my reputational damage. The same thing will happen to the audit firm. Then lastly, after all of these things has been done, the legal costs, legal damages, loss of clients, reputational damage, ICANN will now institute a disciplinary committee to review what has been going on with the audit firm. Because remember, this certificate that we are trying to get, this ICANN certificate, if you check, whether you get it, hopefully by you pass this exam in May and you have this you go for your induction. If you see that certificate that bears associate of the institute, it's stated there, this certificate belongs to the institute. This certificate belongs to the institute. So what that means that they are just leasing it to you, or they lease it to you. So anytime any person, any child accountant is found wanting, the institute is at liberty to what? To withhold or to suspend such child accountant. So I can we now call for an hearing, a proceeding to hear from the size of the audit firm what has been going on with them. So if they are able to convince the audit, if they are not able to convince the institute, that is ICANN. ICANN will obtain what? We withdraw the practice license of the audit firm and they will cease to become an audit firm going forward. Those are the consequences of not having a good quality control in place. I hope we get it. All right. Let's go on. So let's go to the next one. So we are done with the first part. We go to the next one. Let's look at quality control procedures. Now, I'll explain what we mean by quality control. Now, there are two procedures that is recognized in this advanced audit and assurance syllabus. And the two procedures, quality control procedures are each individual audit engagement, which is the first one. And the second one is what? The audit firm as a whole. Each individual audit engagement. And the second one, the audit firm as a whole. Okay? So let's look at it one after the other. Let's look at the first one. Each individual audit firm. When you talk about each individual audit firm, what that implies is this quality control procedure, what that implies is this. For this first one, the auditing standard that regulates this first one is ISA 220. ISA 220. That is the one that regulates or that explains each individual audit engagement. Remember when I started this class, that was the first thing I made mention of, the reference auditing standard. Now, what this implies is that in every engagement, in every audit engagement, you have the engagement partner, right? You know, I've explained who an engagement partner is. Now, for each audit engagement where you have an engagement partner, the engagement partner has been given the what? The mandate to ensure that is what? That engagement complies with the statutory requirement of both the audit firm and the institute, both of them. So he's the one in charge. When you talk about audit engagement, what we mean is that the engagement partner is the one in charge of all that particular engagement. So you must ensure that that audit complies or that engagement complies with professional standard and applicable legal as a regulatory requirement. That's one. Number two, it must ensure that the audit report issued is what is appropriate. Number three, it must it must identify circumstances and relationships that might give rise to threat to independence. So who is doing all of this? The engagement partner is one saddled with these responsibilities. They must also ensure that he's able to assess the impact of breaches in the firm's independence policies and procedure, and whether such breaches create a threat to independence. Okay? That just touch briefly create what? Threat to what? Independence. Then lastly, you must ensure it takes suitable action to eliminate identified threats or to withdraw from the engagement if appropriate. Who is doing all of this? The engagement partner. So anytime you talk about engagement partner taking charge or being in charge of each individual audit engagement, these are the things that he needs to ensure he does or she does. Okay? So you must ensure these ones that I've mentioned, right? So you must ensure that the audit firm complies with professional standard and applicable legal and regulatory regulations. The audit report issued is appropriate. Then you must ensure that the key, no, not that one. You must also identify circumstances that and relationship that might give rise to threat to what? Independence. They must also assess the impact of breaches in the firm's independence policies and procedures, or whether such breaches create a threat to what? Independence. And then lastly, you must take action to eliminate identified threats or withdraw from engagement if appropriate. Okay? So these are some of the things that the engagement partner will do. What you need to have at the back of your mind when you talk about each individual engagement is that it resides with what? The engagement partner. Is the one that is in charge. So what that means, okay, someone is asking a question. We appreciate if you help us with the material. I've sent the material before the class started now. I sent the material before the class started. So please check the platform. It's there. All right. Thank you. Okay. So we are continuing. Now, what that means is that as an engagement partner is one that is responsible for selecting his engagement team. That's what it means. So what that does is that in an audit firm, you are at liberty to select who you want to be on the engagement team. It's not the manager that is going to force any audit staff on you. You are the one that is going to pick your engagement team. Especially if you have an audit staff that is large, like what is obtainable in the Big Four or the second tier audit firm. Okay? So it's one that is going to do what? Select the engagement team. So you must ensure that whoever is select, they have the what? Appropriate competence and capabilities. Okay? You must ensure that they have what? Appropriate competence and capability. So it's not a case of, oh, this person is my friend. Oh, we eat and we dine and wine together. I cannot leave him aside now. Of what? Emotions when you are doing your audit engagement. Because if you don't do it, whatever the outcome is going to affect the audit engagement as a whole. Right? The next one, you as the engagement partner, you must ensure he is in charge. Okay? To ensure he's in charge means that he put in place, he's able to direct and supervise the staff that are doing the engagement. He's able to what? Assess the staff that are doing the engagement. Okay? Okay, don't worry. I'll put it again after the class. Don't worry. Noted. It's clear, Busolami. It's clear.
Thank you, sir.
So, okay. So, that is that. The other thing he also needs to do as an engagement partner, because all of these things will be done by an individual. That's why I say that each individual audit engagement, the engagement partner, is one that will be in charge of this. So, he must also ensure that he takes what? Consultation. He does what? Consultation. For instance, they say no man is an island of knowledge. So don't say because you are the engagement partner, you are the alpha and omega. When you need help, reach out for people that you know they are better or they have better experience or more experience than you. Don't say because you are in charge, you must be the alpha and omega. There are times where you will need to engage, you need to consult, you need to ensure you consult widely. Because at the end of the day, whatever you are going to do or whatever you have done is going to bounce on the engagement partner as an individual and at large is going to affect the audit firm. So he must ensure that he doesn't want that kind of what do you call it now? Image. Okay? He doesn't want that kind of image for himself. So he must ensure he consults widely, okay, especially on contentious matters. Okay, especially on what contentious matters. So if you know this thing is not right, or if they say there are some issues you experience, okay, that affect, maybe it affects your independence, you don't have to go about it. Do not die alone. Do not die in silence. Okay, reach out so that you can get all necessary support as regards that particular engagement. So also as an engagement partner, aside from you directing and supervising, as an engagement partner, especially in the big four or the second tier audit firm, you see or you know that the engagement partner is usually has more than one engagement per time. Sometimes you might have like four, you might have like three concurrently or simultaneously that are being done at the same time. So he needs to ensure he puts up a monitoring team in place. So you might assign the audit manager to delegate, he might delegate some responsibilities to the audit manager to oversee certain things on his behalf while he's away, even though he can connect remotely where the need arises. But he cannot be there physically all the time. So he goes around all other engagement. Okay. So what that means is that he must ensure he puts in place an appropriate monitoring team. All right. So that is those are some of the things that he needs to do. Now, another thing you also need to note is that as the engagement partner, as the engagement partner, you must also ensure that issues that has to do with compliance with ethical requirements are not taken for granted. Ethical requirements, you'll be looking at that in chapter 3. That is the rule of professional conduct, independence, objectivity, um, integrity, professional behavior, conflict of interest, all of those things. Especially independence, they take it they take it a great deal, independence. Where you cannot exercise independence in an audit engagement, it's better not to do that. It's better not to do that engagement. Okay? It's better not to do that engagement when you cannot exercise independence. You cannot ensure independence, your independence. Okay, independence has to do with what? You have to be seen to be independent, and you are supposed to be what? Independent. There are two things that is involved. Independence in appearance, okay? You have to be seen to be independence. Independence in appearance, you have to be seen to be independent, okay? And you have to be what? Independent. So that is what it means. You understand? So that is what we are talking about. Then also, you must ensure that conclusions on compliance with dependence requirement, I've talked about that. You also ensure conclusion in respect of new and continuing engagement. So don't say that because you have some clients now. There's a saying even in this palace by Burna Boy that even Dangote is still looking for money. Don't say because you have your clientele already, or clientele portfolio, you don't need new. That would be very wrong. And if you don't manage your existing clients well, they might, if they feel dissatisfied, they might leave to meeting your other competitors. Okay? So you must ensure as an engagement partner, you are managing an engagement, you must ensure the satisfaction of your clients. Not you circumvent controls, you circumvent everything, but you must ensure everything acts with laid down rules. And at the same time, you're able to what? Satisfy your clients. Then also you must ensure the nature and scope of conclusion from consultations undertaken. So every consultation you made, you must ensure is properly what? Documented and what? And noted. You must ensure all of this. So our engagement partner, what are the things you need to do when you are done with the engagement? So what do you do? When you go out for the engagement, right? You go out, you have an opening meeting with your staff, with your clients. Now, the opening meeting with your clients, You are going to decide, you are going to explain certain things you need from them, requirements you needed from them. So you said you now start the work. Now you are also going to lay emphasis on the fact that you need your client to appoint a liaison person, the go-to person that they will be going to for every need, any requirement, anything that they need within the client business. It's not everybody that will be going everywhere. You will be meeting everybody. So you ask or you request that the client present to you the go-to person for any requirement, anything that they need, documents, refreshment, information, that will be person that they will be going to. And you're going to also tell the client that there will also be a one person within the audit team, engagement team, that will be responsible for going to asking for some of these things. Not every audit team, every member of the audit team will be going to meet one person. No, one person will be designated to doing that. Okay? These are some of the things. So in the course, when you are done with that engagement, right? When you are done with that engagement, you are going to collate all your working papers. So all the information you gathered, all the evidence you gathered, everything that you have gathered, you're going to collate everything. Sometimes the engagement might last for a few weeks within the client environment. You go back to your audit firm to complete it, right? Now, when you go back to your audit firm to complete it, that is when you are going to compile all your information, review, do other consultation. Then, before you send that report out, the audit report, the draft audit report out, you are going to engage the services of an engagement quality control reviewer. That person, like I said, in some of the big four, in the big four, they have this engagement quality control reviewer resident within the audit firm. Okay, but for the small medium audit firm, they might need to take it out. They might need to outsource it. Okay, what that does is that it allows for an objective evaluation and review of what has been done by the engagement team. Because one thing you need to notice that when you say you are engagement quality control reviewer, that means you are not part of the engagement team. You are just like an unbiased judge. Okay? You are like a what? An unbiased judge. So let me use another example so you understand what I'm saying. Do you think when they are playing a football match and you have the coach also playing playing on the field, do you think if the coach is playing on the field as the other team players, do you think it's going to make some uh, let's say remarkable decisions? The answer is no. If the coach is also playing on the field, that is part of the player, is also part of, let's say it's part of the team players, is also on the field playing with them, you will not be able to see things differently because he's still part of them. You will attach emotions, you will do so many things to it. But you always see that when they are playing matches, you see that the coach is always outside the field. He will be outside, he will be looking at it. So that's why you call some of those coaches technical advisor. Why do they call it technical advisor? Why they call it technical advisor is that they're able to spot loopholes where they can what? Exploit at the expense of their what? Of their opponent. To do what? To score a goal or to score goals. So you see that as the match is being played, you see that the coach or technical advisor is doing some things. So we'll be looking at everybody. So when there's a loophole, we just use sign or signal his own players. His own players are familiar with his sign language. You might just use eye contact, they understand. So before you know it, a goal will be what? Will be scored. And that will make a whole lot of what? Difference. So it's the same thing as what we are talking about here. So as an engagement quality control reviewer, you are believed to have what? An objective evaluation or review, okay, of the work has been done. So everything that the engagement partner has done will be submitted. So most times, the engagement quality control reviewer is someone that is at either at the same level as the engagement partner or a higher level. Okay, it's either at the same level of the engagement partner or a higher level. So what that means is that he has vast experience And there's what we call, I've always said it. Okay, maybe I've not said it, but I'm saying it in my previous classes that audit is what is scientific. Audit is scientific. Why is it scientific? If you follow the procedures, you follow the audit procedures, you are going to arrive at the same result. You are going to arrive at this expected result. That's what it means. That's why it's called science. And remember in science, when they say they want to do test for starch, test for protein, the end result for test of starch is what? Is purple, black, or blue, black. Therefore, protein is what? Is pink or so. So what that means is that if you follow all the laid down procedures, you are testing for starch, you are going to achieve that outcome. So that means as an engagement quality control reviewer, he knows the end even before he begins because he has that experience. So by the time he looks at everything and he looks at the auditor's opinion in the auditor's report, he can see whether that audit opinion or audit report is appropriate or not. The essence of this is to save the image of the what of the audit firm against any form of what professional negligence on the part of the what engagement partner. All right. So what you also need to know, there are times when the engagement partner and the engagement quality control reviewer will disagree. So, for instance, the engagement partner will say that the opinion I want to give is um a set for opinion, okay, or a disclaimer of opinion, or I want to give an adverse opinion. But the engagement quality control reviewer is saying that no, this report, your opinion is supposed to be a clean audit opinion, that you know reservations. So that there will be sometimes they have that kind of conflict or contention. When you have that kind of contention, how do they resolve it? So this matter, they resolve this matter by doing what? By going in line with what is obtainable in the audit firm's lay down policy. What that means is that in the audit firm, there are policies that they have put in place. There are procedures that they have put in place that in case there are issues, okay, these are the ways to resolve this conflict. So that it is systematic. You don't need to say, let's wait, let's go and see the managing partner. Managing partner has put in place everything that you need to make everything to work seamlessly. Okay? So when there are differences of opinion, what that implies is that the engagement partner and the engagement quality control reviewer will go in line with what has been set or put in place within the audit firm on how to resolve some of these issues. This is what we are talking about, okay? Differences in opinion. So what I've done is that I'm not reading in verbatim, right? I've summarized all that you need to know about each individual engagement quality control, each individual audit, what do you call it now? Quality control procedures. Each individual quality control procedures is what I've just explained now. Does anybody have any question or any area that is not clear before we go to the second one? But the second one is more technical and more advanced. Any question? Any comments? Any observation? Comment, question, observation before we proceed. Are we good? No question?
No
No
questions.
comment? Okay, I want to believe that he's speaking the mind of every one of us here. All right, thank you so much for your time. So let's go to the second one. The first one we just explained is each individual audit engagement, quality control procedures. The second one we are looking at now is called the audit firm as a whole. This is it here. The audit firm as a whole. Sorry. The audit firm as a what? As a whole. You've seen it. I'm trying to highlight it. The audit firm as a whole. Okay? Now, what's the difference between these quality control procedures and the one I just explained? Let me give us the difference. Fast. The main difference between these two quality control procedures is just one. In the case of each individual audit engagement, the engagement partner is the one responsible, is the one in charge of ensuring a good quality control procedure. While in the case of audit firm as a whole, the managing partner is the one charged with the responsibility of ensuring that policies and procedures have been put in place within the audit firm to ensure what? A good quality control system. That is the difference. I hope it's clear. Okay. Now, what you also need to note here is that when you talk about each individual, I mean, the audit firm as a whole, the second quality control procedures, there are 7 elements that must be in place. Okay. When you say that you have a quality control procedure that affect the audit firm as a whole, there are 7 things that must be in place that the regulators will want to check. That is ICANN and any other statutory requirement. Okay, there are 7 things they are going to test, and those they are going to test, I'm going to share with us. I want to share with us now. Now, what I do as a facilitator is that I try to make learning to be easy. Okay, I try to make learning to be what? To be very, very easy. So you don't need to stress yourself to understand anything in audit because even though it's abstract, but it is very, very interesting. So I've compiled the what's it called? A form of an acronym, which I normally call mnemonics. Okay, mnemonics. I call it mnemonics. So what does that mean? Mnemonics is a form of learning. Okay, that is a form of learning that makes learning to be what? Easy. So if you go to nursery schools now, or preschool, or crèche, or L&D, or what do you call it? Learning and development class. That's what they use. And that's why you see that learning is always very fast. So I'm not saying that we are preschool or we are French students, but I want to, I said that knowledge is vast. So one of the ways I see to making learning to be easy is to embrace or to inculcate this approach. So I'm going to stop this one now, right? And I'm going to share this one with us. I'm just going to share the mnemonics with us, that acronym with us. We are coming back to this place. Okay? Just hold on. All right. Okay. Okay. So I'm coming. Can you see this? Can you see this?
Yes.
You can see it, right? Right.
Yeah.
So this is
H,
this is
H
this
for
is
human resources.
this is ILMED. That is the acronym for the 7 things that must be in place in an audit firm as a whole. 7, they must be in place. These are the characteristics. So the audit firm must ensure they put these 7 things in place. So you can, well, I want to read that it is recorded. So you are going to see it later in your when you are watching it the next time. So this is it. It's called ILMED. So the H stands for what? Human resources.
Resources.
Then the E stands for ethical requirements. The A stands for acceptance and continuance of client relationship and specific engagements. Then the L stands for what? Leadership.
Really.
The M stands for monitoring. The E stands for engagement performance. Then the D stands for documentation. So, and I've seen these questions being asked by ICANN. In 2019, this particular question was asked. You are going to see that question. Okay? This particular question was what? Was asked in 2019. Question number 4, 2019. We have this question on this. So take a look at it. ILMED. I hope you have gotten it. So we go back to
Yeah.
where we are. Thank you. Let's go back to where we are. So we are back to the other screen. Okay. Now, so look at it. So what you need to note here is that this mnemonics that I shared with us just now is not arranged in that order here. So don't say, why is it arranged? It's not arranged in that order. But I just want you to know, once you know that order, you can use it to explain whatever you have here. It's very simple. So We are going to start with, let me explain, let me use that order to explain it, right? We are still coming back here. Let me use that order to explain it. So let's start with the first one. The first one in that order is called human resource.
Yes.
Let's go back there. Human resource. What does it mean? Now, I said that when you talk about audit firm as a whole, as a quality control procedure, its responsibility lies with what? With who? It lies with the engagement, managing partner. So because it lies
Managing.
with managing partner, the relevant standard we are using for this particular one is ISQC number 1. In the case of the each individual audit engagement, we were using ISA 220.
220.
Now, for this one, we are using ISQC number what? Number 1. Okay? So, and that is where he specifically stated the 7 characteristics that must be in place. Okay? The first one is called human resource. How does this affect the audit firm as a whole? What this one means is that as an audit firm, the managing partner must ensure that it develops policies and procedures. Yeah, it does what? It develops what? Policies and procedures are put in place to ensure that the audit firm attracts only competent and good candidates. Competent and what? Good candidates. And you want to believe, you go to audit firm now, the standard requirement is that when you want to join an audit firm at an entry level, they always state it that you must be what? You must be a BSc holder. That is one. And they always give a specific age, let's say 25 or 26. Then thirdly, they always say that you must have your O level in one sitting. That means your WAEC, GCE, or DECO must be in one sitting. They don't want you to combine the results. Then another thing they always say also is that they want somebody that can be what? Someone that has what? Second class upper. Most audit firms, they will not take somebody that has third class. They believe that if you can attract first class or second class upper during your degree days, that means you'll be somebody that can be what? That is teachable or that is open to what? To learning. Okay? One that is does what? Open to learning. That's why you see that most of the audit firms, they always ensure they get people with this requirement. I don't know whether it has changed now with this Chapa syndrome. One thing I know now is that most of those people that they recruited some 5, 6 years ago, most of them have what? Have jackpot to another country. They have moved to, they have migrated to other countries. Okay? They have migrated to other countries for greener pastures. So that means they fall back on what? The experience higher. People that have um, maybe they don't have this requirement. So some of them they are reviewing some of these their entry requirements. But what I'm trying to say is that as part of the procedure to ensuring they have a good quality control procedure in an audit firm, it's expected that you have staff that are what? Competent, that are ready to work, that are within the age range. Because they believe that if you are 25, you can still be taught some things. They believe that once you are 35 or above, you have already formed your character. It might be difficult for you to take instructions. That's their belief, right? So that is that for human resource. So the audit firm, the managing partner must ensure it develops policies and procedures to ensuring that they have what? Policies that ensure they attract only what the best and best capable or competent hands. Number 2, ethical requirements. The ethical requirements also evolves around the managing partner. That means the managing partner must develop policies and procedures. I said that the managing partner is the one in charge of the audit firm. So he must ensure that he develop policies and procedures that ensures only the staff, that ensure that all the staff comply with all the laid down rules. Laid down rules including those fundamental principles that I just explained earlier: independence, objectivity, conflict of interest, professional behavior, all of that, integrity, all of that, right? Must ensure all of that is in place. And it also ensures that anything that threatens these ethical requirements, they are fundamental, they are taken very seriously, and it could cause the clients their job. That means that they might disengage from working with the client. That's what it means. And that's why that if you go to the big four, you see that in every year, at the end of every year, they always perform an appraisal on looking at the staff that comply most, the staff that comply most with these ethical requirements. Why are they doing this? They are doing it because they want to promote what? Good ethical value within the system. So they know that if you get it this year, you have to sustain, you have to maintain and sustain it next year. So other people will also try to do the same. And by so doing, in a way, they are making the system to become more ethically relevant, okay, or compliant. The third one is called acceptance and continuance of client relationship and specific engagement. Acceptance and continuance of client relationship and specific engagement. What does this mean? What this means is that you are looking at two sets of clients. You are looking at existing clients as well as what? Prospective clients. Existing clients are the clients that are already with you. They have nowhere to go. They are satisfied with your service rendering or service delivery. Now, your prospective clients are the people that you want to bring on board, are the people that you want to engage, are the people that you want to bring to your what? Clientele portfolio, right? So you shouldn't jeopardize your existing client with your prospective client. What does that mean? Don't say, okay, this one is already in my kitty. This one is already in my client net. This one is already my client. Yeah, he's going nowhere. In anyhow I treat him, he will take it. No. There must be policies and procedure that ensures how you relate with your existing clients so as to ensure what? Continuity of what? Service delivery. It is when those clients patronize you that you stay competitive, you stay profitable. Okay? You are going to pay salary, you are going to do so many things. If you don't have clients, the other firm will not be able to survive. So that's why we talk about what? Continuance. You need to continue to maintain your existing clients. And for your new client, the prospective client you are trying to bring on board, there are certain procedures that they must be in place to ensuring that you don't bring a client that's going to jeopardize the the integrity or the goodwill or the branding of that audit firm over the years. So you are going to ensure you do these key things. One, you must ensure you carry out what? Key what? Know your customer, KYC. Know your client. You must ensure you know your client, what they can do and what they cannot do. That's what we call it, know your client. You must ensure you carry out this. Okay? You need to know the source of their what? Of their income. Don't be carried away by the environment or the work environment or the stature of the client. You need to dig deep to ensure that your client is not involved in money laundering. But if he's involved in money laundering, it's going to affect the client performance. It's going to affect the client, it's going to affect the audit firm's performance as a whole. Okay? That is what that means. That means there must be policies and procedures put in place. The next one is what? Leadership. Who is the head who is in charge of the quality control in an audit firm? Is the managing partner.
Management partners.
So he must develop policies and procedures to ensure that at all times, whether he is on ground or is out on official engagement or on vacation or whatever, the audit firm run seamlessly. So you must always appoint a duty reliever or a delegated authority. Delegated authority. And when he's appointing the delegated authority, he must not do it with emotions. He must ensure that whoever is being appointed as a duty reliever or a delegated authority is someone that has similar charisma, is someone that can do the work as though is the managing partner. It should not appoint somebody or to select somebody based on what sentiment, religious sentiment, or ethical sentiment, or yes, the same tribal sentiment. No, it will be based on what merit. That's what we mean by leadership. And of course, you know that the managing partner will not be in the office 24/7, 65 days in a year. There are days he will be sick. There are days he will be off duty. There are days he will have other engagements. While he's away, that office should be occupied by somebody that has been delegated. There must be policy in place to how to appoint or to select that person, such that everybody knows the person and they accord the same respect to the same person that has been what? Sole appointed. That is leadership. The next one is monitoring. Now, monitoring is very key because if there's no monitoring, the engagement partners will be acting anyhow. Okay, they'll just be acting haphazardly. So, but when there is monitoring, what that means is that there must be policies and procedures in place that ensures proper monitoring. Proper monitoring. Monitoring here means that you must ensure that your client service is top notch. That the service ready to your client is what is top notch. You must ensure that you have appointed somebody, that is the engagement partner has appointed somebody as what? A delegated authority or a duty reliever to act on his behalf when he's not there. They must ensure that there is somebody within the audit firm that has been appointed to monitor all engagement, that is being done. And also direction. The managing partner should put up policies that clearly explains the direction of how each engagement should go. What are the things they need to do? After then, what are the things they need to do? And the last thing, before the audit report is presented to the client, what are the things they need to do? All those directives must be put in place, written in black and white, and must be understood by all and sundry within the audit firm. The next one is called engagement performance. Engagement performance here says that there must be policies and procedures in place, put in place by the what? By the managing partner, to ensuring that the client is always what? Satisfied. Satisfaction means you're able to deliver. If you say that the client say that he wants this audit report within 1 month, you must be able to you must be able to deliver within 1 month. And where you cannot deliver within 1 month, you must give reasons why you cannot deliver within 1 month, or the things that must be put in place before it can be possible. All of these must be in place. That means there are parameters that have been put in place to ensuring that all the clients are what? Are satisfied at all times. All the clients are what? Satisfied at all times. Then next also, there is what we call documentation. Now, in audit firm, one thing that is very key is called what? Documentation, documentary evidence. is very, very key. So audit firm must ensure that they have policies and procedures in place that ensures proper record keeping. That is one. There must be policies and procedures in place that ensure um, prompt or quick retrieval of what? Documentation where necessary. Quick retrieval of what? Documentation where necessary. Then also, there must be policies and procedures in place that explains what should be done to audit working papers that are what? That are old, how they should be what? Archived. There should be an archival system explaining their what? In the policies and procedures of the audit firm. Okay? What that means is that at every point in time, when they are collating or compiling the audit working paper, there are some they will put a guideline that says that, oh, this document, it exists forever. For instance, the financial statement is a document that exists forever. That means that you must continue to keep it. And you know that sometimes when you keep paper for too long, the paper will get what? Will get weak. So you must be able to devise a way of storing them in what? In the cloud. All of this must be what? Must be spelled out. Okay? So these are the 7 elements that must be in place within an audit firm, which is the constitutional rights or the purview, which are the purview of the engagement partner. Okay? I hope I've been able to explain this. Does anybody have any question as regards these elements? Are there questions? Are there comments?
Uh, no, sir, but sir, what is the topic that the heading we can put for this one? Is it audit firm element?
That is audit firm as a whole. Element of audit firm as a whole. Key elements
As a
in
whole,
audit
okay.
firm as a whole. Yeah, that is it.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Any other comments? Any other question? Any other comments? So this material now, is what I've just summarized. That is those areas. As you can see, I'm not reading in verbatim. I'm just scrolling down for you to see. When you have the material, you can also check, okay? So these are the things. And you can always reach me on my WhatsApp, right? Which is the one I use to share these documents with us. You can always reach me if you have any question or any area on any topic on advanced international from chapter 1 to chapter 16, any topic. Feel free to reach out to me at any time, preferably on WhatsApp. Okay? Between now and your the eve of your exam. So you have almost how many months now? About 5 months, 4 months or 5 months.
4 months.
So you have that luxury. So ensure you utilize it. So those are that. We are not done yet, too. This is just an aspect of what is obtainable in an audit firm. So I'm just waiting if there's any question. I think we are all good. Nobody's asking question. We are good. Thank you very much. Let me see.
Okay, please, sir.
Yeah,
I
continue.
don't know if I'm okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
I would appreciate if you can go over the monitoring. I think for the uh specific engagement, I think you also mentioned monitoring, and for the quality control for the firm as a whole, monitoring also came up. So if you can uh uh take a second summary of monitoring and what makes monitoring
What makes
different in in the quality control for each specific engagement and that for the firm as a whole.
okay. You want me to expatiate on the one for the each and the audit firm as a whole, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me explain that. Now, Remember, thank you, Mr. Victor. Remember, in each engagement as a whole, or each individual engagement as a whole, the engagement partner is responsible for that. So what that means is that he has other commitments or he has other engagements. He's not saddled with just one engagement. So at that point, what that means is that he's going to nominate a member of that engagement team to assist him while he's not around. Okay, but that does not mean that he has relinquished his responsibility. He only assigned his responsibility. He has not relinquished it. So whatever action or inaction of the delegated authority that the engagement partner selects or appoints is still the one responsible for that person's act or inaction. I hope that is clear. So the engagement partner is one responsible under each individual audit engagement. However, in the case of audit firm as a whole, the monitoring here is split into two. One is that the managing partner must ensure they have policies and procedures in place. Must ensure what? They have what? Policies and procedures in place that ensures proper monitoring of what? Of all engagement. So that means that they will have cascaded it in such that as you are going for any engagement, ensure you nominate someone that will be in charge of the what's it called? The engagement while you are not there. Because each individual engagement is what sum up to what is obtainable in the audit firm as a whole. I hope you understand that. You understand what I'm saying? So what we are saying here is that there must be a system that tracks what is being done, okay, within the what? Within the audit firm as a whole. That is what it means. So somebody is there to ensuring that all the ethical requirements that they have put in place, that they have set out, okay, is being complied with by all the audit staff. So monitoring is two aspects for the audit firm as a whole. One is on the part of putting in place policies and procedures. Secondly, is to ensuring that all what has been put in place as policies and procedures are being what? Are being complied with. Mr. Victor, have I been able to answer your question?
Okay, that's fine, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So let's continue. No other question? Okay, that means we are all fine. All right, let's continue. Oh. The next one I want to look at now is still within the audit firm. I said that anything I'm talking about here centers around what is obtainable in the audit firm. So we are still discussing audit firm. I'm coming. I'm looking for something. I'm almost there. All right. So before we go to the next one, let's look at this. Because there was a diet that this question was asked. Types of review of audit work. Types of review of audit work. Now, mind you, this review I want to talk about now, they are subsets of a particular review. So the main review itself is called peer review. The main review itself, okay? When I'm talking about review, I'm talking about one particular one, which is called what? Peer review. When you say something is a peer review, what does it mean? It means a review that is carried out by another partner in the audit firm. Assurance firm is another word for audit firm. I hope you know. So when you see audit firm or you see assurance firm, don't mean it doesn't mean different thing. It's saying the same thing. It's just the words being used interchangeably, okay? So it's peer review we want to talk about. So there are different types of what? Peer review. The first one is called engagement quality control review. So this is what I've been explaining all along. This is a type of peer review performed before the audit report is signed. So I've explained that a lot today. Is that review that is done before the audit report is signed. We call it engagement quality control review. The second type of peer review is called auth review. Auth review. Now, what is the difference between engagement quality control review and auth review? The difference between engagement quality control review and auth review is the fact that in an auth review, the review is not performed as a direct requirement. What does that mean? So what that means is that it is not statutorily required, but audit firm they do it. Is a way of ensuring that the staff that they have employed or the staff that is occupying or about to occupy a particular position can deliver on the what? On the expectation. Can do what? Deliver on what? The expectation. How do you ensure it delivers on the expectation? This is what it will do. This is what it will do. It's going to simulate a situation. So the situation is that it's going to give, let's say there is a audit staff that is due for what? Promotion to becoming an engagement partner or to becoming a partner in the audit firm. So they're going to simulate a situation. They might give like a working paper of a current engagement, okay, to that staff and ask the staff. I told us that audit engagement, they are scientific in nature, and ask the staff to design an audit report in that regard. You understand? So based on what the prospective staff is able to do, we determine whether that person merits that position. That's what it's called auth review. That means it's something that is happening right there, something that is still on the process or in the process. It's called auth. When something is auth, it means something that is still ongoing. They will give that person and check whether the person is going to arrive at the same position as the engagement partner that is embarking on that particular audit engagement. That's what they do. That's what they call auth review. Something that is happening now. Right? But in the case of engagement control review, it's a statutory requirement. It is mandatory that you do it. That is what you need to know about the two. The third one is called monitoring review, or we call it code review. This is another type of peer review. Okay, it's a type of peer review that is done after the audit engagement is what is completed. So you have signed off the audit report. So most times you use the monitoring review as a form of what? As a reference purpose. You use for what? Reference purposes. You want to use it to teach. You want to use it to explain a situation. That's what you do. You use it for that situation. It's called code review or monitoring review. I hope that is clear. Okay. Any question? We are good, right? Okay. Before we continue, let's look at a question that relates to what we have done now. All right. Let's look at the question with what we have done now before we continue. Because I know most of us, what we need basically is how to tackle questions in exam. You need this one that we are doing, yes, but what you mostly need is how do you answer a question when it comes out in an audit exam. That is what we need, and that's what we want to quickly do now. Because this particular chapter is very broad, but let's see how far we can go. But I have a question that we can discuss now from what we have done thus far. Okay, let's look at that question. The question is question number 4 of 2019. 2019, I think it's May. Yeah, I want to believe it's May. Hold on, let me check it. We can check together now. It's November 2019. Okay. It's November 2019, question number 4. Okay. So you can look at it later. You can look at the whole question later. But the one that I want to talk about now is question number 4 that addresses what we have just discussed. Now, this is the question. Look at it here. Okay, so you have it. You are a partner in a large audit firm and an associate. The firm is a part of a network of audit firms operating in different countries around the world. As part of the quality control practice of a network of firms, a peer review is done every year. During the peer review, the partners from other firms in the network visit your firm to review the working papers for selected audit engagements that were carried out during the year. What are working papers? Past engagement. The documents from past engagement are what we call audit working papers. After the review, the reviewers compile their review, comment, and categorize them into recurrent themes. The recurrent themes identified after the review in the current year include the following: no evidence of review of audit working paper by a senior team member. No evidence of review of audit working paper by senior team members. 2, review comments were not properly cleared before the signing of the audit report. Review comments were not properly cleared before the signing of the audit report. Number 3, in some instances, despite evidence of review of working papers, during the audit, the peer review identified deficiencies in the audit documentation, which led the reviewer to question the quality of the review done during the audit. And lastly, in some instances, all audit working papers were not in the file prior to signing of the audit report. Okay? At the end of the peer review exercise, a report was prepared and sent to the managing partner of the firm. The head of audit and risk is sent to these people, the managing partner of the firm and the head of audit and the risk management partner. The managing partner of the firm was alarmed at the nature of the findings from the review and decided that necessary steps had to be taken to address the deficiencies noted. As part of the initiative to address the situation, you were asked to facilitate a refresher course for the management team of that is the audit firm, okay, on requirement of ISQC number 1, quality control for firms that perform audits and reviews of financial statements. Okay, so that is so let's look at the question. Number 1, explain the purpose of a review of audit work. What is the purpose of a review of audit work? From what we have gathered so far, what is the main purpose of the review? Is to ensure that the right thing is done, to ensure that they follow laid down processes and procedures, and to ensure that the audit firm is not exposed to any professional negligence. You can see they put 1 mark there. That 1 mark does not mean that you must just write a line item. I hope you know. Your ability to explain, clearly explain, is what we're going to fetch you that 1 mark. Otherwise, if it's not clearly explained, the examiner can decide to give you half mark or no mark at all. And half mark or no mark sometimes could be detrimental to the success of a candidate during ICANN exam. So you need to know how to answer questions. Okay? The B part, explain the 4 types of audit reviews. I've just explained them. peer review, you now explain all those other types. The engagement quality control review, the auth review, and the monitoring review. You explain them. You list them and you explain them. You list and you explain. Okay? The next one. Discuss the requirement of ISQC1 on the system of controls that a firm should have that addresses any 5 elements. Any 5 elements means the element that we just explained. You can explain any 5 of them. There's 7, right? Any 5 will do, and you get your 20 marks. You can see that it's very easy now. So let's see how the answer is presented. Okay? Does anyone have any question before we proceed? Mm. Look at it. Can you see that 1 mark now? Okay. I hope you can see that 1 mark. They put just 1 mark there, but some of us will just write one line and say, the examiner requested just one, he's going to give me 1 mark, but let me just write one line. You know, I explained it. Look at the meaning of purpose of audit review. It's to check what? That the work is carried out to proper professional standards. I said that. 2, the rate of audit review are being achieved. 3, the work is carried out during the audit and the audit evidence is suitably documented and the audit evidence supports the conclusion that has been reached. You can see it. So these are some of the things that make students to fail audit too. If you see how now, your final balance in your financial statement will just attract maybe half mark or 1 mark, but all your postings will attract marks. That's why you see that even if the account does not balance, if your financial statement does not balance in CR, they will still give you your mark. You will still pass. But you see that it's not as easy as that with advanced audit and assurance. That is it here. Okay? Then you go to the next one. The following are various types of audit review. You can see all of them there. You can see it. Peer review, event quality control review, auth review, and monitoring review. You've seen it, right? And the last one here, you can see requirement of ISQC1 on the system of controls that a firm should address include leadership. You can see. You can see they put here, establish what? Policy and procedure. You see that they underline it. Designed to promote an internal culture, recognizing that quality is essential. Ultimate responsibility of quality control policies and procedures should rest with the firm's CEO or equivalent, which is known as what? Managing board of partners or equivalent, okay? And any person who has operational responsibility for quality control should have appropriate experience and ability and the necessary authority. You understand what you know what I said earlier? Is the same, right? So you can see it too. Second one, ethical requirements. ISBC number 1, you can see one thing that's common to all of them. Establish policies and procedures. Requires the firm to establish policies and procedures to provide it with reasonable assurance that the firm and its staff comply with relevant ethical requirements, maintain independence where required to do so by those requirements, then communicate its independence and requirements to staff, then identify and evaluate circumstances and relationships that create threats to independence, assessing the impact of such threats and applying safeguards or withdrawing from the engagement if appropriate. It's what I said, right? Third one. The third one is here. Acceptance and continuance of engagement. Okay? This one, okay, look at it here. See under that the second one. The policy and procedure should also include the following. Staff to notify the firm of circumstances and relationships that might create a threat to independence. Also, any breach of independence of which they have become aware. And the firm to communicate such breach to the engagement partner and other relevant staff. The engagement partner is to advise the firm of actions to be taken. Still part of that ethical requirement. The third one is acceptance and continuance of engagement. You can see establish policies and procedures. You can see they always put it there, establish policies and procedures to provide it with reasonable assurance that the firm will only take on or continue work where the firm is competent to perform the engagement, has capacities, the necessary resources to do so, and comply with relevant technical requirements as considered the integrity of the client and does not have any information which could lead it to conclude that the client lacks integrity. Okay? Then the policy and procedure should include requiring the firm to do what? Obtain sufficient information to make such decisions for new or existing engagement. That is what? KYC. Know your client, okay? Consider potential conflict of interest and therefore whether it should accept the engagement. Okay, that's talking about what do you call this thing now? Threat. Okay, familiarity threat. Then next one, put there, requires the firm to ensure it has sufficient personnel with the competence, capabilities, and commitment to ethical principles and meet its overall what? Quality control objective. That is one. That for each engagement, an appropriate engagement partner and team is what? Is assigned. So policies should, you can see the main mention of policies. Now, policies should therefore exist for the recruitment, training, and development of staff. Okay, the firm should ensure compliance with ISAs, and the other staff should have good knowledge of accounting standards, local or national statutory accounting regulations. Okay. So the thing went off. I think his network. I've not left that place. I'm still explaining it. So the firm's technical auditing procedures should be set out in a manual and reinforced by training. Newsletters and or meetings could be used as a means of ensuring that professional staff are kept up to date on current developments. Okay. So work should be assigned to staff that are competent to perform that work. There should be procedures for ensuring that an audit team collectively has the appropriate level of technical knowledge for the audit engagement and includes individuals with experience of audits of a similar complexity and an ability to apply professional judgment. Okay, you can see it. Let's go to the next one. You have the question with you. November 2019, question number 4. Next one, monitoring of quality control procedures. The firm is required to establish a monitoring process designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that its quality control system is relevant, adequate, and operating effectively. The process should include inspecting on a cyclical basis at least one completed engagement for each engagement partner. You know, I said something about that. Responsibility for the monitoring process should be given to a partner or other appropriate persons with sufficient experience and authority. When monitoring reviews, code review, are carried out, they should not be performed by those involved with the engagement or the engagement quality control review. You can see it. All right. The next one, documentation of quality control procedures. The following matters are required to be documented: evidence of the operation of each element of the system of quality control, complaints and allegations made against the firm and how they were resolved. Documentation should be retained for a sufficient period of time and as a minimum to comply with relevant laws and regulations. You can see it, right? That explains what I've just explained. I want to believe that everybody is here, yeah, right? So everybody is clear with this. So there's no question, right? Are we good? Are we good? So we are good with that. So you have more questions on that question pack that was sent to us. Okay. So you have your time at your own leisure. Please feel free to attempt all the questions in that pack, and we advise us. Find time to attempt all the questions in that pack from that year, I think from 2014 to 2023 or so. Please find time to attempt, and the other questions you can get them from the current Pathfinder. When you make your payment for this this exam, they are going to give you the new Pathfinder. So ensure you practice all those questions too. Very, very important. Okay. I want to believe we are all together. So let's continue. Is there any question coming before we continue? We are good, right? Okay, let's continue. The next area we need to look at is how the audit firm, how do they charge for their work? How do they charge their fee? How do they arrive at the audit fee for their engagement? So we are looking at obtaining and charging for professional work. Please mind us, we might not finish this class today. So I'm at individual times, the physical students, I'm going to continue from there with us. And for the online students, I want to believe they're also here. I'm going to continue this from this area when next we meet. Please, someone in each of these platform or this group should always remind me when I come on board, okay, in the next class. Thank you very much. So you are not rushing anything here. This particular topic is about 3 hours you're supposed to use. So I cannot rush it within 2 hours. It's not feasible, it's not possible, it's not practicable. Your understanding is highly essential. And that's why I decided to take time to look at a question that that concerns what we have done thus far. So how does the audit firm, how do they go about their work? How do they charge their fees? That we want to look at now. We are looking at obtaining and charging for professional work. Obtaining and charging for professional work. So the first thing you need to know is that audit firms also, they are not a charitable organization. They are not established as NGO. They are established to do what? To make profit. They pay salaries, and they are established to also make profit. So they are profit-making organizations. So because of that, there are certain things they need to do. Okay? There are certain things that they need to do for them to continue to be what? In business and to be relevant. So there are certain things that they need to do as regards their what? Advertising and publicity. You know that advertising and publicity is a medium to which you can use to what? Sensitize, inform, educate your people about your services. So there are certain do's and don'ts of this advertising and publicity that audit firms must comply with. Otherwise, they will have issues with the institute. Right? What are those things that they must do? Number one, anytime they want to make advert, the advert should not bring into disrepute the professional body, the firm, and the profession as a whole. You understand? It must not bring into what? Disrepute the professional body, the firm, and the profession as a whole. What that means is that anything that you are doing should be such that is what you do. Nobody is saying that. It's not that somebody is saying that, oh, you are the audit, is this audit firm? The audit firm that was involved in money laundering activity. You know, when they attach an audit firm to, let's say, money laundering activity now, it's going to have a negative image on the institute, that is professional body. It's going to have negative image on the audit firm itself, and it's going to have negative image on the profession itself, the accountancy profession itself. That's what we mean by that. So anything that you are doing, in the course of trying to market your professional services, you must not bring into disrepute the professional body, the firm, or the profession as a whole. I hope that is clear. Number two, as an audit firm, in the course of trying to make marketing of professional services, you are not expected, you are not allowed to make exaggerated claim to services offered and qualifications. So, for instance, if you have not involved in forensic audit before, you not lay claim to the fact that you can carry out forensic audits. Simple and short. It's what you do, you should what? Advertise or you should market. Number three is still part of that, okay? Offered qualification, process, experience gained. That's what we mean. The next one, you must not bring discredit. You must not discredit the service provided by other firms or make disparaging references to unsubstantiated comparison to the work of another chartered accountant. What does that mean? You don't say that the audit firm, you will not see anybody they say that KPMG is the best audit firm in Nigeria. Or you say that Ernst & Young is the best audit firm in Nigeria. Or you say that PwC is the best audit firm in Nigeria. Okay? Or you say Deloitte is the best audit firm in Nigeria. There's no way you're going to see that. What you are most likely to see is when you talk about what? What are you likely to see? What you are likely to see is KPMG or the Big Four. They are one of the leading audit firms in Nigeria. One of the leading audit firms in one of the leading is what you are going to see. Once you say you are the best in accounting, what that means is that every other accountant, they are second fiddle. When you say you are the best, what that implies is that every other chartered accountant, they are what? They are second best. And that is what we mean by what? Making disparaging references. So the best you can see, you're one of the best chartered accountants in Nigeria. Okay? You're one of the best chartered accountants we have what? In Nigeria. Then also, you must not break any locally recognized code of advertising practice. In Nigeria, we have the Advertising Practitioner Council of Nigeria, APCON. They have their laid down rules and regulations. Aside from the ones that we have mentioned now, you also need to comply with the APCON guidelines. Okay, their guidelines, you have to comply with it. Okay. Then next, as part of the things you need to do as per advertising and publicity, you must not be misleading. That is, your information must not be what? Misleading. That is clear. You must not make misleading information. That's what that means. Then next also, you must not offer discounts. Do not tell your clients, oh, because you render certain services to them, then for the other one, you're going to give them what? Discounts. No, it is not allowed. It is not permitted. All right? Especially for new clients. Okay? The next also, must not make comparison with fees. Must not make comparison with fees of another service provider. You don't see that KPMG, they charge 10 million naira for outsourcing. Ernst & Young charge 8 million. So me, I'm charging 5 million. You shouldn't make comparison as to the fees. Just talk about what you want to charge to the client. If he's comfortable, he's going to patronize you. If not, he will move ahead. Okay? I hope that is clear. So the ICANN professional code of conduct and guidelines states that if a chartered accountant in a public practice is in doubt whether a proposed form of advertising or marketing is appropriate, he should consult through the registrar or chief executive of the institute. I hope that is clear. Okay, if you have any doubt as to any of these rules, they are not clear, you can visit the ICANN office and ask for the registrar, chief executive of the institute. Now let's look at another thing that you also need to know. How do you think chartered accountants, audit firm, how do they arrive at the audit fees that they charge? So these are the conditions that they use. These are the criteria that they use to arrive at their what? Audit fees. There's nowhere ICANN does not have a clear statement that says that as a chartered accountant, this is how much you should charge. There's no way. That's why you say that there's no fixed amount or there's no fixed salary to chartered accountant. Depends on your work, your organization, and your negotiating capabilities or prowess. So these are the things that can guide an audit firm when they want to calculate their audit fees. Number one, they use the seniority and professional experience of the persons necessarily engaged in the work. You cannot compare the wealth of experience of someone that just qualified, a young chartered accountant, and someone that has qualified for over 15 years. You cannot compare the experience. So that one, they will charge, for instance, you know that not different, they charge per hour. So they might be charged for that experience, chartered accountant in another firm. Maybe his own, the experience one might be, let's say 25,000 naira per hour, and the young child accountant, his own might be maybe 10,000 naira per hour. That is one of the things they use to charge. They will now collate everything together and they arrive at an holistic amount. Okay? Another criteria that they use when they want to charge the fees is the time expended by each. Time expended by each. So how much time will the experienced child accountant is going to spend? Because every of their time is what? Is money. Okay? Every of their time is what? Is money. That's what that means. So that's also, so if you are going to spend more time, that means, for instance, 25,000 naira times per hour times 8 or times the network just malfunction. I was explaining the degree of risk. I'm looking at how to calculate, how the audit firms arrive at their fees. We have looked at the seniority and professional expertise of the persons necessarily engaged in the work. We have looked at the time expended by each. The third one is the degree of risk and responsibility in which the work entails. What does that mean? So if you are an audit firm, let's say for instance, you want to take up an engagement, a new engagement with a client that has a negative image with the regulators or with the tax authorities. The audit fee you are going to charge will not be the same as a new client that does not have any issue with the regulators or the relevant tax authorities. Because for the audit firm to choose to accept to be your auditor, in the case of that one that has issues with the relevant tax authority, that means that they are putting their what? Their reputation at stake. They are putting their reputation on the line. So if they lose, it's going to affect their reputation. You understand what I'm saying? So that is a basis. So the risk involved plays a major role. Okay? The risk involved plays what? A major role in determining the fee. The next one, the priority and importance of the work to the client together with any expenses properly incurred. What does that mean? What that implies is that if the client says that I want audit report that's supposed to come out within 1 month, he wants it in 2 weeks' time. What does that mean? That means the audit firm will deploy what? More resources. They will pull their staff from other areas to support and ensure that they achieve that 2 weeks deadline. That's what it means. If you're going to pull out somebody from other areas, it's going to cost more. So the money and all they are going to incur will be added to the audit fee. Okay? Will be added to the audit fee. So we are going to stop here for today. So if you have any questions, You can reach out to me on my WhatsApp, or you can call if need be, because I don't want to extend 10, because the time given to me for this class is 8 to 10, because I know you have other classes. There are some that are scheduled just immediately after now. So if you don't have any questions, there are no questions, comment, observation, the class is hereby adjourned till next Sunday. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very
There's no
much, sir.
question.
Thank you,
Class.
sir.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. All right. Enjoy the rest of the day.